We've got Jagannarayan Padmanabhan, who's the Senior Director, Transport, Mobility and Logistics at CRISIL, now joining in. Thank you so much for taking time out. Just let's get in a sense as to what the outlook is when it comes to the infrastructure sector as a whole, given the fact that we understand that, there has been NHAI offering 56,000 crore rupees in terms of their overall debt service and, highway projects as well on BOT. All of that is likely to bolster the infrastructure sector as a whole. What's the sense that you're getting in terms of the infrastructure investments over the next few years?
Good morning and thanks for having me here. So quickly, I think infrastructure as a whole will have a lot of subsectors covered into it. And if you were to, quickly narrow in on the specific of roads as a point to take further, we have seen the expenditure from the government, continuously going up for the last 5 to 6 years at a compounded annual growth rate of between 15 and 20%. Just a case in point of last year itself, the allocation for the road sector increased by close to 25%. And we're talking about close to now 2.58 lakh crore, which was there for last year. So that's the huge amount of impetus which has happened for infra and specifically in the roads. The other one sector where the investments have been happening by the government is on the railways, which is a similar number of close to 2.7 lakh crores. I think these two have been the clear expenditure from the government. I think, and in terms of the roads specifically, these have gone predominantly for hybrid annuity models and EPC construction activity. Going forward, I think we will see a lot more action happening towards the BOT, which is build, operate, transfer projects. What do you think?
So if you had to pick out one segment of infrastructure which would be most lucrative and most action-packed for the next 5 years, which one would you think would be the focus? Would it be railways or would it be roads?
So I think all of them are firing on all cylinders. So going forward, if we were to look at it, I think from a larger context, railways investments will continue to be there because in the last couple of years alone, the railways expenditure has increased, but roads has been there for the last 7-8 years. And in terms of the freight part of it, there is a national rail plan which says the shift from road to rail to happen. And we're targeting close to 50% of total freight to be carried by the rail. So for that to happen, a lot of augmentation of infrastructure to happen. So I think if you just ask me between the two, which would be a bit more of focus, I think rail will continue to garner a lot of support from the government side going forward, considering the plans which has been put across by them.
Quite interesting. The other thing, when you talk about roads as a particular segment, tell me, is there higher opportunity for asset monetization in roads when it comes to that? And, according to you, what could be the drivers and draggers when it comes to the road segment in particular?
Yeah, so I think you're right from an asset monetization. So now we're talking about the financing part of it. A lot of construction has happened in the last 7-8 years. On a ballpark number, this would be about close to 10,000 kilometers per year. So that much of construction has happened, and these are national highway assets, and hence they get tolled on a predominantly to a large extent. Many of these roads get tolled, and the ability to kind of monetize is happening. And we have now gone into the rounds of close to 15 and the 16, that is TOT, which is called the asset monetization, which is toll, operate, transfer. That's the model which NHAI is adopting for monetization of roads, and we are in the 15th and the 16th round as far as that asset monetization is concerned. So that is going to continue to happen going forward, which will be a mode of financing further road build out. Is that enough? Not so. It is still a very small piece in the overall scheme of things. So that is one part of it in terms of asset monetization that we can see. And I think this will get accelerated going forward. That is one part. Then second is the BOT, which is the build, operate, transfer part of it. There was a significant lull in the last 5 years for the BOT. Now the government is pushing that. That is the whole construction risk along with the market risk and the financing part of it will be now with the developer. So that will be a significant change in terms of outlook as far as from the government perspective is concerned. And how much of that they are able to get through we'll have to wait and see. And I think from the next 4 to 5 years, this will be a mode of awarding which will see a lot of significance going forward.
To understand your outlook as well on government spending on roads, given that the pace of awarding has slowed down pre-election, do you think that post it is likely to pick up?
Yeah, in this year, there has been a significant dip in terms of the award. Not so much in the construction part of it, I would say. The construction part is still happening in a fairly okay manner in comparison to the previous years. And going forward, I think with the new government coming in, and I'm not privy to any of those conversations or what could be there, but certainly this would be an Bharatmala, which is the flagship program of the government. There is an envisaged construction of close to 70,000 kilometers, and hence we're still having a significant headroom for that to happen. So I think it will, the way how this is going to build out may change, but roads as a sector for investments and an augmentation of this will continue to happen at least for the next foreseeable future.
And a lot of big private players as well have seen quite a bit of competition when it comes to road projects. EPC players have seen new entrants coming in. They become fairly dominant. Will this trend, in your view, continue?
Yeah, so the EPC and the hybrid annuity model, which is in a way a deferred way of EPC, that has taken and that has been the preferred go-to market mode for NHAI, and hence we have seen a significant amount of old and new players being there in this particular one. And my sense is that it is not an either or. It will be the BOT which will get added on to the HAM and the EPC, and hence these players will continue to grow there. So the mix will be shared between HAM, EPC, and BOT. For the BOT part of it, the players need a bit more sophistication because you have a financing risk involved, and hence the banks would be seeing the promoter's ability to get the project up and running, the projections being right, because the market risk is taken by the BOT player, and hence it will be more mature players who will be operating in this particular scene. So I think the maturity curve will move from the EPC to the BOT players. So many of the current EPC players can graduate themselves to BOT players going forward.
Okay, good to have you on board. Thanks so much for joining in and giving us a better picture as to how things stand when it comes to the entire infrastructure space.